Dossy and I talked about fishing the Kirk River for years. It's a little system, but at the end of the wet season it drains about 100 square kilometres of wetlands. So if we were going to fish it, it's during the peak season runoff that we had to be there. That meant I had to get my patrol across the Peninsula Development Road, or the PDR, during the wet season runoff. And that's almost impossible, and almost brought us unstuck before we even started. But my brother Matt and I put the boat on and we went and got through. Then we put that little boat on the roof of Dossy's big boat so we could drive that down into the Kirk. But what we found when we got there was horrible. Imagine you planned a fishing trip, and when you finally got to your fishing spot, you found 4 or 5 boats on it and they'd wrecked it for you. Well, what we found when we got to the Kirk was 100 times worse than that. We sat in the boat and we contemplated turning around and going home there and then and just cancelling the whole thing. But we hung in there and we persisted, and it was worth it, because by the end of this video you're going to see the best fishing session I've ever had in over 40 years of doing this, and with it one of the most amazing sunsets I've ever seen. We came within metres of being eaten by a crocodile on the last night. We broke an engine, we found a piece of Cape York history. My brother Matt got his personal best barra, and on the way home got his personal best finger mark, a massive finger mark caught on the reef on the way home. But we had so much fun, and this is what adventure fishing is all about. Guys, I hope you enjoy the Kirk River wet season madness.
Battle to get through the PDR today. It's after 1 o'clock already. We're still 200 k's out of Cohen, which is about our halfway point. Got so much water over the road, and we just bumped into a couple of guys in 4-wheel drives that said there's a couple of places up here they don't think we'll be able to pass. So we're going to push on though and see if we can get through it. I've just walked through this whole section, and we'll won't have any problems getting through this first section. I'll park the car off in that little dry bit and I'll walk that second section and we'll see if we can get through there.
We've just walked across this section of the overflow. It's too deep for the car to drive across because we don't have a snorkel. We decided if we were going to chance it and drive through with the tarp across the front of the car. And these Roadtech fellas rocked up. The Land Cruiser up the front, it's got a snorkel, so the plan is that they're going to go through and try and part the water for us, and we'll follow them through, and hopefully there'll be 6 or so inches less water as we're driving through. As you can probably see in the front, as the truck's going through, it's creating a bit of a bow wave and making the water a few inches less deep for us. So it's been a huge benefit. We're just
about to hit the deep bit up here, Matty.
Yeah.
The bottom's going to drop into a deep hole.
As you can see,
We're in deep water here. There it is. Uh-oh. Straight over the top. Oh, I think we're through.
Yes.
We're through.
Happy days.
That's fantastic.
Now I have to stop and assess everything.
Thank God we were setting the car up to get through this water section here. We walked it and it was up to our waist, which means the intake to the air on the Nissan Patrol is just behind the left headlight, so we would have taken water in if we drove it. So we started setting up a tarp for the front to try to push the water away from the front as we drove through it. And just as that happened, the Road Tech guys came through with their truck and a Land Cruiser, so we ducked behind them. They created a bit of a bowway for us, as you saw on the footage, and we were able to get through. We haven't got any water in our air intake at all, which is fantastic. And this was a section we got told we'd never get through, so it's been hard. It's 2:30 in the afternoon and we've travelled less than 60 or 70 k's of this PDR so far, and I don't want to travel this at night. There's so many washouts that if we sneak up on something too quick. The guy we're going fishing with, Dossy, he's already taken the front end out of his Land Cruiser last week, and we don't want to do the same with our Patrol, so I'm so happy we just got through that. That's fantastic. Let's push on. How easy all this happens. These guys, obviously from Parks and Wildlife, some of them drive through here all the time, and you just hit a soft spot and the car just sinks right down. This is going to be hard going for the rest of the trip. At least we're doing better than these poor buggers. So
They've just got bogged in a soft spot there, so that Land Cruiser, yeah. Well, they've got through, so it's a safe bet for us.
love these signs up here. Rough surface. It means something completely different up here than what it does back in the city. Back in the city, rough surface sign means you're probably resurfacing the road and there's a little bit of gravel on the road. Up here you can expect anything from the Grand Canyon to little washouts. Rough surface, pay attention when you're up this side. Well, we survived the PDR last night after 15 hours driving from Cairns to Weipa. Car's a little bit worse for wear, a little bit of damage to these bottom of these back guards, which generally happens on this road with these patrols, but apart from that we survived it. Before we could head off, we had to get the little bluefin from the roof of my car onto the top of Dossy's boat, then load up with camping and fishing gear, as well as the 460 litres of fuel that was required for us to get from Weipa down to the Kirk and back into Weipa again. Looking okay?
Looking good so far.
Kettle boiling.
Yeah, we're just siphoning some fuel. We've got several 20 litre drums on board to put back in, and as I said, a lot of them are lined up along the back here, so nose of the boat's quite light in comparison. So this will put it down the middle into the tank of the boat, which will just redistribute some weight.
After 8 hours of motoring south into the Gulf of Carpentaria, we finally found the mouth of the Kirk River, which due to shifting sands had moved a few kilometres north since it was last mapped. The river was spectacular, with a huge sand spit right at the mouth and pristine lush mangroves lining each and every bank. Our enthusiasm was significantly dampened by the sight of pro fishing nets that lined both sides of the mouth of the river, and 2 pro boats with a campsite close by. We'd come such a long way to find a river that had been obviously heavily netted, but we still decided to set up camp right in the mouth of the river and explore the wonderful environment that is the Kirk River.
We're right in the mouth of the Kirk River. It's quite a nice camp. We're quite impressed. We've got the boat anchored in a little deep channel on this side. We've got some backdoor access, no pun intended, somewhere we can pull the tinny into and pull it up high and dry. We had a slight disappointment as we entered the mouth today. There was pro fisherman nets lining pretty much every bank of the river. There's a couple of big prowy boats anchored up down the other side there. They're probably in the gun camp position, but we're pretty happy with this one all in all. Here we are, it's late afternoon. We've got a bit of food, we got some barramundi and we're going to have for dinner. We're just throwing the lure out. Oh hello, Matty's got another one there who's coming in, but we're just in the wash. The tide is still ripping out through here. There's actually a real wash. This guy just smashed me. I'm going to get these hooks out. I'm going to let him go because we got enough for dinner. And Matty's also loaded up.
It's my 4th barramundi for the day. Thrown a handful of fish back today, probably more than a handful, a couple of handfuls of fish back. I'm just looking out the front now, there's 2 pro netting boats just pulling the nets, throwing fish after fish in their boats, so all our fish we're throwing back today kind of seemed a little bit pointless.
Second day on the river. Our first day was all about getting here. We had a quick fish yesterday afternoon. Got a few barra yesterday. They weren't big. We were hoping to get bigger ones up the river, but got to get you 2 boys and me to barra, eh?
Absolutely, can't wait.
Can't wait, can't wait. Speaking of which, yesterday you mentioned your PB is 122 centimetre barramundi. Where'd you get that?
That was up at Lake Tinaroo.
Tinaroo?
Atherton Tablelands, Whisty Kings.
Oh yeah, impound barra.
Impound barra. So it doesn't really count. My
It does count, it does count.
I like Wild River barra, which is my best is 114. Which you were there when I bought it.
It was a great day.
But Tinaroo's a good spot. Tinaroo's got some big barra.
Yep.
My average barra in Tinaroo is 122. My average size barra.
Your average 122 centimetres?
That's pretty huge.
That's huge!
Yeah.
Your average barra. Struth. What's your smallest?
122.
122.
I only ever caught one barra there.
Only one?
Yeah, that's it. That's a good average though.
Mate, it's a cracking average. Mate, you don't want to break that.
No. So our plan today, up the river as far as we can, because the reason why we're here, late in the wet season, I've mentioned it a few times already, this drains a massive swampland. And we've noticed that even the incoming tide has water leaving this river. There is so much fresh water getting drained up from those wetlands, and Matt and I know from running the PDR how much water's out there. So
I don't know if we've done a run around with the camera yet of our actual layout of our camp, but we'll probably do that before we leave, so it will be on the video. But the mouth is just to our right. I can see the top of the boat there, and where that is anchored. Last night, as the tide came in, we thought the tide was still going out because the river was ripping out, but the boat just slowly came up. Yeah, and it's just
more water leaving than it's coming in.
That's it. Yeah.
So what we're looking for is fresh water running into the main river up there where it turns into a swamp basically, and we're hoping where that fresh water drains into the river there's barra sitting there, because traditionally barra at the end of the wet season will sit at those holes where there's water draining in, just plucking off food as it comes out. So
frogs, small fish, you know, that sort of thing, tadpole, whatever.
Soft plastics.
Soft plastics.
There's all the barra, Wardy.
back at camp.
We've encountered a slight anchorage problem, lure and snag. We have one piggy tail device, several extensions on it. We can't even see the leader, and there's a rod length of leader on it, so just a bit of tension there, Mark. We'll just get onto the line and wind on. That's us. I'll run that down your line, keep some tension on it. It feels like it, but I didn't really feel your leader. Got it? No. Oh, hang on. No, that was just it was caught on the branch. Let me just. There's the leader. Yeah, there's the leader. We found the leader. There we go.
There you go. What'd you pay?
$45.
It's just paid for itself.
Beautiful. Here we are, Fisherman's Landing. Beautiful little professional fisherman's hangout. Bit of a shack on the banks of the Kirk River. As you can see, she's a bit of a white ant eaten temple. Got a lovely example of the Cooktown orchid here. Is that I think it's the actual state emblem of Queensland, isn't it? The floral emblem. Not sure, could be correct on that one, but we got big bull's head up here, some big horns. There's a crocodile skull up on the thing here. She's a wild bit of gear. Fisher's Landing, Kirk River, western coast of Cape York Peninsula. We're just noting here, it's obviously been a permanent residence of an old fisher. There's a plaque here by name. Obviously his last name was Fish, or he's known as Fish. Was Fisher's Landing he's been named after, but obviously spent a lot of money here setting up. Big cold room here. There's pumps, there's gas cylinders, his old caravan. He obviously tried to make a lifestyle of it. There's the old concrete mixer rusting away at the back that would have been used to pour these slabs. There's an old tractor rusting away. Down here there's a big painting where it says Fisher's Landing obviously, but there's actually a plaque as well, and it's got some more details. And it's Edward L. Fisher. He was born on the 14th of June in 1934, and he passed away on the 1st of May in 2010. And then it's got the FV Kingfish, the FV Weary Bay, and then it's just got Cape Kiowa, which is where the mouth of the Kirk River runs out, and then it just says gone fishing. To the lake proper here coming in. Just got just a little rat. Just a little guy. There we go. Oh, beautiful little fish, but obviously very immature. And we'll get these trebles out. Just like that.
So we're at the just got to the lake now, gone past Fisher's Camp, and this opens up to about 5 miles across, just all swampland. It's all lake. In the wet season, there's just mullet everywhere. So we've actually entered the lake. We've just hooked a barra and quite a few catfish, unfortunately, coming in. But now we've entered the lake proper. We don't know what's going to be here. We don't know if there's massive barra in here chasing all the mullet, but there's plenty of birds, there's plenty of fish, so we're going to give it a go.
What you got in the box there?
This is my box of shallow running lures. I had the Big Daddy on, the Reedy's Big Daddy on before. He runs a little bit too deep here. We're only in about 800 mil. So what I'm going to do is go to my, as Dossy knows, this is my go-to lure. Red head with gold body. This is your Halco 120, and he'll I'll even take one up there. He'll only run about 20 centimetres below the surface, so that's what we're going to give it a go. He's not a big barra, but we've got onto a patch of him. I've hooked this is my second barra in 2 casts, but he's running pretty hard. Oh, that's because he's foul hooked. That Halco's got him right under the chin there.
Yeah, nice.
Put him on the towel so he doesn't get too hot. And
Beautiful little silver fish, isn't he? Oh, nice.
there's a heap of pelicans in there, which means bait fish everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Trawling a deep rock bar, tide's bottoming out, getting towards low tide, and this guy absolutely belongs to me.
71.5 centimetres of spiky Barramundi. Woohoo! PB, happy days.
PB, happy day. Like we hooked a shark or a stingray. Oh yeah, just not only very slowly, but it's still just peeling line. Whatever it is, huge.
Shark maybe.
Oh no, this is my metering.
Shark.
No, it's not quite fast enough for a shark. Oh, okay, it's a shark because it just disappeared. It's gone. Cut me off. As you can see, that's an accelerator for a small 5 horsepower Yamaha. So late afternoon.
We turned it around a bit. We ended up with
Yeah.
about between 20 and 30 barra, but
Yeah.
still we were expecting numbers of around 100 barra a day, and that sounds like a lot, but it's not for these rivers like this. And the problem is we've got nets from the pro guys on each side of the mouth of the river, so every barra coming in and out of this river is swimming straight into a net.
Yeah, all getting cold. All the sizable ones are getting cold anyway. And when we came in, they were also on the inside of the river in both directions.
So
Yeah,
yeah, we came a long way to find pro netters hitting our river, didn't we?
yeah, we come a long way. Spent a lot of money on fuel to come down and fish with the proies. Yeah.
What else did we do yesterday, man?
Well, yesterday we've going to drive back to camp at about 4 or 5 o'clock. We started the motor and going to accelerate, and the accelerator's come off the tiller. So
Bugger.
consequently, we couldn't accelerate the motor to go home. We tried using the Lecky motor to get up the creek, and eventually one of the pro guys came and stopped and gave us a tow.
Oh, for the last kilometre.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was nice. And funny thing, we've pulled up right next to the boat, and he goes, "Oh, do you want me to take you right into your boat?" We're like, "No, we're right. We'll just drive in on the electric motor to where the big boat is." But the problem is, where we've got our big boat is right in the mouth, and the current was just ripping through there. So we've stopped short probably 50 metres of where the big boat is, hoping to drive in on the electric motor. All of a sudden, the current's just ripping our small 3 metre tinny out into the ocean, away from the big boat at a rate of knots. But at the same time, the electric motor is, the battery's almost flat, so we're putt, 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 going against this ripping current, trying to get to shore. We're all freaking out, thinking we get sucked out in the ocean. No one said it, but we're all thinking it. So it was pretty hairy for a bit there, but yeah, lesson learned, if you're getting a tow, get towed to shore, not 50 metres away from your big boat.
Very cool. You done any injuries? You just had sandfly bites, numerous.
Numerous sandfly bites and a fair bit of sun damage to my nice skin.
Actually looking all right this morning,
Yeah,
mate.
so I might have to put some moisturiser on and, you know,
Go for a facial, mate.
Yeah, a bit of a
I'll
treatment when I get home.
I'll ring the Kirk River Beauty Shop
Yeah.
and book you in for a 10 o'clock appointment.
See if you can ring the Yamaha dealer while you're there.
Actually, I think they're next door. In the street called nowhere fucking near here. You can cut that bit out.
I'm keeping it in.
We are. We're right in the mouth here of the Kirk River. Our camp is just there. Boat's anchored right there. We've just walked around the seaward side of the coast here. Oh, sorry, it's bust up. I can see it. You can't. Just a lot of queenfish working in the mouth. But what I want to point out, in a short strip, and there are literally dozens of these in varying states of decay. These some better ones, baler shells. There are 3 nice ones there. We've got a pile, there's 6 there, we've got another pile up there, 6. When you walk along the high tide line, they're just literally dotted everywhere, big shells. Some of the other shells, I mean, there's just mounds of these cockle shells right up in the mangroves and that over there. They are everywhere, there's piles of them. Little, I don't know what they're called, ice cream cone shells. They're big around Weeper. You get them up Pennyfather, quite long. the replica Diveken boat from Dutch, which was the Dutch boat, which was the first European contact with mainland Australia, which was just near Weeper at Diveken Point, for obvious reasons, named that way. But the replica Diveken came through both Cairns and Weeper, and I got to see it. And on their little plaque on board, they had a couple of these, bigger than that, just mounted in there, which representative of the area. So they've been here. That was in 1606, the first European contacted the land there. Another little version of a shell, not sure of the name of that one. And have a look down here. Just mounds of it, little baby cockle shells. It just goes to show, indicative of a very healthy river system down here. The other thing we notice about here is you go the tide line up around the Torres Straits, Weeper, and even south of Weeper down towards Arakoon. There's empty bottles, a lot of Asian litter washed onto northern Australia. We've walked the beach here and I think I saw one light bulb that had washed up, could have washed in from anywhere. I don't know if you boys saw any litter, but there's not rubbish just strewing. This is pristine. I was just on dawn pulling a barra lure along here, twitching, and I started scraping bottom. When I got my lure in, all these little cockle shells were covering every point on my trebles. I had to get them in and clean them off. But you can see the mound build up here. It's like that all the way along the beach. Beautiful. This is the way we need our river systems. Plenty of life. You know, the little fish eat these, the bigger fish eat the little fish, and if there's plenty of them, we can eat the bigger fish. We're working.
Let's go fishing.
Let's go fishing.
What's our plan, Wardy?
Well, I reckon this creek looks good. It's the top of the tide. We never do any good on barra at the top of the tide because they're usually in these little mangroves and swamplands way too deep for us to get our lures in, but we've got nothing else to do, so we're going to have a bit of an explore and flick around. The colour of the water is beautiful. You can see your lure dancing through the water. We'll be able to get some really good flashes of barra coming up and rolling on the lures if we find any, so let's see how we go. This creek might work, so we'll give it a go. Right on the edge of that back one. Threatening to find all the bait fish. That can often stir the barra up too, just the action in the water can wake them up and get them to belt your lure. There's a couple of barra just here, Doss.
Can you see him? Oh yeah, I can see him.
Yep. They're not touching the lures.
There they are. Oh, there's a good one under there. Oh man, he's got to be close to 70.
He is a good one, isn't he?
Oh, maybe no. Reassessment, 60. Look at him sitting there. That's a beautiful wild river barramundi, yellowtail. Gorgeous. There he goes.
You can see why we have a hard time
Oh.
on the top of this tide, can't you?
Yeah, look where he's gone. He's gone right back underneath. That was beautiful, mate. That was a privileged moment. Yep. Oh. Get him?
He's at it. Can you see?
Nah.
His mates are following it.
Oh,
too.
I can see him. Oh, there's 3 of them.
Yep. Can you see him?
Yep, I can see him.
Put another lower in behind him, see if I can stir him up.
Mate, don't have a win there. Grab
Got
him.
him.
Yep, got him.
Here's the little fella.
Which way's he going? Right there. Nice.
Just couldn't help himself. Put it on his chin.
Yep, well done, mate. Beautiful.
He couldn't help himself.
Beautiful. That was lovely, Wardy. Here we are looking back towards camp. We're in the Kirk River, a remote part of Western Cape York. And the boys are having a swim. On your Wardy. It's actually...
I'll get him before they get me.
Yeah, that's it. It's not as bad as it looks. It's actually, when you get down there, they can see the bottom. It's crystal clear, coming off that sandbar, that whole corner. It's actually clean water, and they keep an eye out for dark shadows. We've walked the bank. We haven't seen any slide marks. So it's quite refreshing because the temperature must be around 34, 35, I reckon.
That's our fish of the trip so far. We haven't seen any big barra like this. We got pro netters in the mouth of the river and all the big barra are just getting taken up, but that's a good fish. We haven't put him on the ruler yet, but I'm guessing 85, maybe nudging towards 90 hopefully, but great solid fish. Put up a fantastic fight, got airborne on us. Just a really good solid fish. Just the weight in him, it's quite heavy just to hold up like this. So get some lures back in the water and keep trolling this rock.
Here we go. I don't know, probably mid to high 60s I'm thinking. Just trolling along the rock bar in behind there. Trolling a chartreuse and white Rapala lure that we can clearly see there. And lovely hookup, nice fish.
Yep.
Little one, but it's alright. Barramundi.
Woohoo!
We got Matty.
Salmon.
Bluey.
Yeah, straight up the jump behind the boat. He followed it right in, so I felt the hit, and then I didn't feel anything until I got him right beside the boat.
Put a big lure out for a big fish. Oh, there he goes, he's going again. But unfortunately every one of the three trebles on that big lure has gone in a little fella, but I'll get the pliers on him.
This morning, just to throw my little Barra Classic, my Gold Body Barra Classic out here and give my rig a bit of a test before we get into a day's of fishing. And I've noticed there's plenty of bait down the water here, so I've thrown my lure out and threw a first cast out this way and didn't get anything. And then my second cast, I threw it out and twitch, bang! The line went peeling off the spool, and I had this fella on the end of it. So I think he might be a PB for me.
The reason why the barra in this river are a bit scarce is the pro netters putting their nets across the river. Makes it a little bit hard to, for mugs like us to catch big barra, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's plenty of rats, but the numbers are definitely thinned out.
The reason why we're catching so many small barra is those smaller barra will swim through the nets, where they're just designed to catch the legal size barra. So you get a net across one end of the river to the other, and you ain't got much chance of too many barra getting through there, unfortunately.
I don't know if you can hear us too well over the engine, but we broke the tiller arm on the second day. So now we've got a pair of vice grips holding the throttle out, and we've got a unique way of steering the boat. If we need to turn right, that's my job. If we've got to turn left, that's Dossy's.
We need to go back that way.
Where's the charm?
I saw an emu over there on the side of the bank, walking along, and I knew it was an emu because it was doing this.
started.
It's been 2 days and 9 hours since my last Facebook update. I don't know what's going on outside the Kirk.
Tied him up. He's not going anywhere. Poor old Queenie. I'll get him off, I'll go for pliers.
We're just out here working the incoming tide, and while it's a tiny fish, it's another species we can add to our total tally. So that's a small Dewey, absolute baby, but he's nailed that gold Barra Classic that I've been using, and that bait's probably half his size. So again,
The Queenies are just getting so thick out here. We got Dossy's popper rod out. And there's 2 hooks on the popper, so we've got a Queenie on each hook. Let these guys go. We'll keep the camera running because there's a big school of Queenies out there. We'll run the popper through the middle of them and see what happens. Last morning, we're packing up this morning. We're going to do a day's reef fishing on the way back to Weeper. Just come down from the camp. We're just camping just up on this bank. I've just done a walk along here to make sure we haven't left anything behind. Just goes to show how close we are to crocodiles all the time. There's big claw marks in the sand just here. We've even got a big valley slide where he's come up on the beach. He sat here for a little while and he's turned around and walked back into the water. And he's done that during the night because this is the same spot that we were fishing with the sunset last night. So another 15-20 metres up this bank and he would have had a few fishermen to feast on. So you right, matey? Yep. Okay, coming forward. Back to Weeper. We're about 30 mile from Weeper, 30 nautical mile, and we're at a place called 9 Mile. It's 9 nautical miles off Pirra Head, and we're just trying to find a decent rock where we can drop some plastics down and grab ourselves a nice finger mark for the barbie tonight.
Yeah, that's a finger. That's a cracker right here. Woody, you take this. I'll get the gaff.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep. Bring him up beside the boat.
Oh, that's what I'm trying.
Oh, this is a looking.
Got under leader.
Yeah. They go hard, don't they? Oh, beautiful fish. Yep, you're winning. Just bring him up. Let him come around and then swim along here. Let him like paddle himself if you can.
Cast it out, up current, and as the 7-inch plastics drift down, midway through the water, probably about 5 metres, he's come up and smacked it, and he's took off like a freight train, and I've thought of hooked up with one of those Spanish mackerel, and I've probably taken about 5 minutes to get him to the surface on a 15 kilo mono line, and he gave me a bit of curry, but got him to the boat. Dossy's put a gaff in him and brought him up, and he's going to be tea.
Finished up on a fantastic note. So
Yeah,
it's been
nice
a great
end of
trip.
the day. Very nice.
It's been a great trip. So it continues tomorrow for us, but
All over for me.
come back up here in another 6 weeks to go
For the
fish
next,
another river.
yeah, chapter 2 for 2013.